Here at MacGyver's Workshop, we build, fix, or re-engineer just about anything. You never know what we'll be working on next. And if you're not too careful, you just might learn something. Okay, so while that little bit's drying over there, my son has completed getting all the bolts off of that front piece there. So that whole plastic bit is one piece, and it's just better to take it off and get it out of the way, because one other thing that we're going to do is, while we got this thing apart, is we're going to fix those headlights. We're going to they make a kit with a polish treatment that'll get that haze off of it, so I can better see where I'm going at night. And this way I can be relatively lazy and not have to worry about re-aiming my headlights, because I can just leave them on there, set it on the bench, and polish them bad boys up. So anyway, I mentioned in my earlier part 1 video that the body panels and all are identical between the F150 and F250 and F350. Now in the F250 and 350, where they have the big diesel engine in them, you have a lot of vibration, and you'll notice there's stress fractures here and through here, and that's due probably to the extra weight on the front end of the big diesel engine and the vibration. But anyway, in one of the other videos on YouTube here, I thought I might mention, when the fellow was taking the plastic trim piece out around the headlight, I have to throw a shout out to him. I don't exactly remember the actually, it was 1A Auto is what it was. He had mentioned that sometimes this one bolt will give you trouble and unscrew from the housing. And I noticed it did the exact same thing on my truck. That's kind of interesting. I wonder if because water gets down in there and makes that nut stiff coming off. It was the exact same bolt, same location, same side. So, very interesting coincidence. But anyway, moving right along, first thing you want to do when you get all your plastic off the front here and get all this opened up, before you even begin to try to pull this fender off, is remember to get this one bolt out, because that holds this fender in here and it holds it up to this trim piece. If you forget and try to pull the fender off with just that bolt holding it in there, you're going to bend this trim up, so this fascia up. And the way to do that, it's real simple. Once you get all this other stuff out, you go through this headlight hole here, you get on it with your 8mm, or like I said, 5/16 works very well, and get that bad boy out of there. If I can get it to focus, you can see me working on it back there. That'll just save you a whole bunch of aggravation. Oh, look at that. It's spinning. Okay. Now, gotta love that, don't we? The little retainer on this back side is broken and just spinning. So we're going to have to grab some vice grips and hold that so we can get that bolt out. So let's do that. Okay, so basically, this is what's called a captive nut, and they're very widely used in the automotive industry. And that this piece will slip in front of and behind a hole and kind of lock in place, and then when you put your bolt through the hole, it screws in there, and then this thing holds and stays put. So you have to ask yourself, how in the heck does it just totally fracture like that? It's not rusted, and it was in there since the truck was new, but that's just an example of all the vibration and all that you get in a big diesel truck. And it's just things like that, they happen. So it's not a big deal. I can actually reuse this. I'll just have to hold it in with a pair of pliers, because once we put this back together, it ain't never coming apart again anyway. So and finding one, you know, you'd have to either get one off another truck or buy one from Ford. Let's see, when I went to the junkyard, I don't think I grabbed one of those. Nope, everything else but. That's okay. You always grab nuts and bolts and bits and bobs when you're at a junkyard, and they don't ever charge you for that. So, but anyhow, so let's move right along here. Okay, so my son's working on the 5.5 millimeter screws that hold the plastic inner fender well to the wheel arch of the fender there. While he's taking that out, I'm going to work on these guys here. There's two bolts under there, and then there's some random 5/16 or 8 millimeter stuff holding the fender, like wire ground straps and brackets and things like that. We got to get all that off. And there's the main engine computer. We're going to have to unbolt that because that's attached to the fender. And then we got to take that lower hood hinge out, but we got to prop the hood up in the meantime so it'll support itself, because one hood spring ain't going to do it. And then after that, we should be good here. And then of course there's one more that I'm going to get right now. I'll show you while my son's working on that. Got to go through the door here at the very bottom. Very difficult to see, but and of course for right now there's a piece of foam insulation in there. I'll have to get that out of the way, but there's a 10 millimeter bolt in there that we go after with our long extension. So give me a minute to get that and we'll show you here. Okay, so we're going through there. If you look up through the top of the hinge there, you'll see where that inner bolt is. We got to get that out too. So we'll work on that and then we'll get the rest of them. Okay, so that's probably the hardest bolt to get to on this truck. And naturally, of course, the captive nut had to break on the back side, so it spun. So I had to crawl up from underneath the truck, latch onto it with a pair of vice grips so I can get it out of there. And thank God it wasn't rusted. Then I'd have had to cut it out with a torch. So anyway, that's where we're at. And to look at the fender here, okay, right up in here is where that goes. And it's deep inside the door frame. So anyway, now we'll work on getting the rest of the bolts out. All we've got to do now is we're going to take and get our computer out. We'll disconnect the batteries for that, and that hinge and those two bolts up there, a couple little random bolts here and there, and we'll be good to go. Alright, so after pulling the one side battery and battery tray out, and all the hidden bolts are here and here, coming up through the plastic mud guard in addition to these around the perimeter, we got the fender off. And there it is in all its rusty glory. And now we're going to work on taking the door off, and we're going to have our hands full here, because we'll have to be real careful about unwiring everything. I've already got both batteries disconnected, but we'll have to disconnect all this wiring in the door there, and then we can pull this door off. But I'm going to go ahead and actually disassemble the door while it's still mounted on the truck. Okay, so basically, we've gone through and pulled our glass out and pulled all the wiring back through, the whole entire wiring harness, back through the door. You don't want to cut any of this original wiring because you're going to need it all to go in the new door. Take the radio speaker out, it's up there. And now we're ready to disconnect the door and take it off the truck. So, slow progress, but we're getting there. Yes. Put it all there. Favorite tool. Roll back in, all in front. Ooh, okay. I've got the new door hung on here. It's a real bear with just me and my son doing this, so we didn't get to record a whole lot of it, but we've got I've got it on here, and pretty much got it lined up real nice to where it shuts like it's supposed to. You don't have all that cockeyed nonsense going on up here. Alright, so now we got our door mounted, and I gotta fix these bottom rivets here. We're gonna use some stainless steel bolts and lock washers to hold them in place. And then got our fender mounted. Got our body lines pretty good. I still gotta put some bolts in the bottom here and bolt in over there. See my F250 glued on there real nice. I'll have to get a new one of the Power Stroke ones because that was more of a sticker and it didn't come off very well. So anyway, we're making progress. It looks a whole lot better, don't it? All right. So the fender's in and on, and everything's all bolted up underneath there. And the new mirrors are on, and the door's all lined up and adjusted right. Works like a champ. Now I'm gonna go up here. We're working on putting the front end back together. We've used one of those headlight restoration kits to kind of clean the haze off of those lenses a little bit. It's alright. Those lenses are pretty bad off anyway, so probably grind all the way through them before you get rid of all the haze. But anyway, so we're just tugging along here. Okay, so this was a long day project, but we have got her all done. So let's do a walk around here. Of course, I have the hood popped on the half latch right at the moment, but there she is, all put back together. And there's a nice new fender, no rust, decent door gaps. I left that gap just a little wide so it doesn't ever pinch again. And then there's the door, my son farting, and best of all, it closes and you can actually open it from the inside. So that was worth $100 in junkyard parts for me. So anyway, there's the old door. He had to swap a lot of bits and bobs out of it to go over to the new door, because you know, the junkyard door had been rated for all its parts. So I know all my parts in my door are good, so I took them all out and put them in there. And the old rusty fender over there. That piece of work. But we actually get a $5 cord back on that fender and door, so that's $10 I'll get back. I just got to drive down there to go get it. And of course, take the old door and fender back. So there she goes. Long day. And as always, I thank you for watching, and please feel free to post any comments. I always like to hear what you got to say, good, bad, or otherwise, and let me know what you think. And as always, of course, you can reach me at MacGyver'sWorkshop@gmail.com. Thanks for watching. See you later.